All right, so now we see that Roxy and Shia, they're super excited. They finally also took their small step for mankind.
Yep.
So Shia gets out of the spaceship and he says, wow, it feels strange to walk in these spacesuits. So yeah, I can imagine it kind of feels really different being on the moon. He says it feels strange.
Yeah, that's another one of those linking words, like linking verbs.
Exactly, and when you talk about this, it means that you're talking about your feelings and your emotions. So you could feel tired, you could feel bored, or you could feel happy as well.
And we also saw the word strange there, right?
That's right. So strange is spelled S-T-R-A-N-G-E, strange. Strange is an adjective and it means different from what is usual, normal, or what is expected. It's also just kind of weird, we can say. So that animal looks strange. It looks like an elephant and a lion. Or he gave me a strange look. Or you can also say it's strange how no one is home right now. So maybe usually at this time your parents are home, your mom is cooking dinner, but it's really weird. It's really strange how nobody is home right now. Let's take a look at our sample sentence. It says, strange things keep happening in this house. There must be a ghost. Let's say it one more time. Strange things keep happening in this house. There must be a ghost.
Now, Roxy, she kind of thinks it feels strange as well, and she describes what she can feel. She says, it's like walking through water. Okay, now if you've ever walked through the sea or a swimming pool that's kind of up to around here, it does feel different from normal walking. Okay, you have to push a little bit harder, but you'll kind of float for a while before you go down. Now there we use this preposition through, walking through water, and that means to go from one side of something to the other, and in this case it's water, but you're going through it, okay? You're not going around it or over it or under it, you're pushing through it, just going straight from one side to the other, no matter what you need to get out of the way to get there, right through the middle, in other words. And that's what she says, walking, because of course in the moon, the gravity is different. There's nothing really pulling you down in the same way, so you kind of float a little bit. Yeah,
it's actually, I think that would actually be a really strange feeling because, of course, we're so used to walking on the moon, not walking on the moon, but walking on Earth, because we do have gravity to pull us down. So it's really different on the moon and also on different planets as well, because their gravity is different than the Earth.
Yes.
All right, so Shia then says, what will you do now, Mr. Armstrong? So everyone's kind of like, okay, we're walking around on the moon.
It's crazy. It's fun.
And what's next? What are they going to do?
Well, of course, Armstrong and Aldrin, they had various jobs to do. They left some things on the moon in case someone ever found them. They put up the US flag, a special one. And Armstrong also says, we need to get some rocks to bring back to Earth, okay? Because they could be completely new things that no one's ever seen before. Special moon rock. So time to look at our next word power word, which is the noun rock. R-O-C-K. Rock, but it's not like the music. So rock is the hard, solid material that forms part of the surface of the Earth and some other planets. So it's what mountains and hills and things like that are made of. Here's another example. The sea gives the rocks around here interesting shapes. The sea gives the rocks around here interesting shapes. And the sea can do that, as can wind, like the Queen's Head rock in Yellio. That's that's one example of a rock. And Armstrong and Aldrin, they're going to find special moon rocks.
Right, and what they do is they study the rocks to see maybe what it is made out of, and that way they can learn more about our planet and also the other planets in outer space. Now, there's more things that Armstrong and his team must do. Armstrong continues to say, we'll take some pictures too. You kids can look around, but don't go too far. Okay, right, so they are doing their job, but they're okay with letting the kids explore as well. He also gives them a little bit of a warning to say, don't go off too far. Now, far means that it's not very close. Maybe Pat and I are studying very close, but we will be very far if I moved that way and he moved that way. So that's what far means. For example, grandma's house is far away. She lives in Kaohsiung. Or I'm not going to Japan this weekend. It's too far. It's far away.
Okay, so while Aldrin and Armstrong are doing science stuff and taking pictures to prove that they were really on the moon, Roxy and Shia can have some fun. Roxy says, come on, Shia, I want to look for Chang'e and the Jade Rabbit.
All right.
Okay, who of course live on the moon.
Of course.
Yep, Chang'e, of course, she's a goddess, isn't she? She went off to live up on the moon when she had some problems with her husband. I can't remember the full story. And she lives there with a jade rabbit. And I think that story comes... there's the rabbit, there's a shape on the moon that looks a bit like a rabbit. And in real life, okay, when Armstrong and Aldrin were going up there, there's this conversation. Apparently, a Chinese girl did ask them to look for Chang'e and a jade rabbit.
Whoa.
They recorded that conversation. Whoa. Look it up on the internet. But what we need to do now is look at the phrasal verb look for. Roxy wants to look for Chang'e and the jade rabbit. Look for is a word power word. It's a phrasal verb. It's look, L-O-O-K, for, F-O-R, look for. Let's find out about it. So look for means to try to find someone or something. We could also say to search for someone or something. For example, my dog ran off in the park. Can you help me look for her? My dog ran off in the park. Can you help me look for her?
All right, then Shia says, maybe we'll see Wugang in his tree. And I'm not too familiar with this story, but I did hear that Pat tell me that he was a person who was kind of punished for doing something, and he would chop a tree on the moon, and he would chop it forever, but the tree will never fall down. Yeah,
or if it does, then he falls asleep, and when he wakes up, the tree's back up, something like that. Yeah,
so it's kind of like Greek mythology.
Yeah, it's an old myth, it's an old story about a guy who's punished by cutting down a tree that he can never finish. Poor guy. Okay, so Roxy and Shia go off, they have a look around. Who knows what they find, but later they come back and Armstrong says, did you find anything?
Well, let's see. Did they find Chang'e? Did they find the jade rabbit? Did they find these people? Roxy says, no.
Oh.
But that's okay. We had fun walking on the moon. So they had fun doing something. So for example, I always have fun washing the car with Dad. Or I had fun playing at the park. I had fun reading the comic book. So you have fun or had fun doing something.
Yeah, it's always that V-I-N-G form.
All right, so let's see what else they get into.
Well, that's it. They've seen what they have to see. They've walked on the moon. That's really all there is to do up there. So the article finishes by saying Roxy and Shia get back into Eagle. Remember, that's the little bit of the ship that came down from Apollo 11 to the moon. Some of the ship they left there, but then there's another part that they go back up into Apollo 11 so they can come home. And Roxy and Shia, of course, can get back on their time machine and go somewhere else. And that's all for their adventure this month. So it's time for today's wrap up.